many other people.
You're North Dakota northern snow person.
It's actually snowing right now.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
No, I'm not. It's a light snow. It's a light snow.
Oh, okay.
And it is a light show today, because I'm assuming we're on.
Whatever would make you think that?
Never. But, this is Super Reset Brothers for the month of March, and the day today is going to be the 14th of 2017, so it's March 14th, 2017. A little bit of an extended announcement of what the date is for this episode. But anyway, I am Tanner Larson, and as always with me is Patrick Breeden. Patrick, you had a chance to play the Switch, and we're going to talk about the Switch for, I would say, the duration of this podcast is predominantly going to be Switch.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit about Overwatch near the tail end, and then, of course, we're going to play our favorite game by Try or Die for the week ahead of this one. So let's get right into it.
Are you saying we're going to switch it up?
We're going to switch it up just a bit. And I can't wait for the pun for that for the next 5 years. I really can't.
I think you're lying.
It's already begun. But there have been some launch issues with the Switch, predominantly with the hardware itself. And by the hardware, I mean the tablet. Because we have noticed that the dock is just plastic with a very small charge motherboard on there. And it's nothing more than just like a shell, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty damn small in terms of like something beyond what you can make at your home.
So for those who aren't aware of the Switch issues that have been ongoing, there have been graphical issues with the Switch where some games seem to be distorted or the colors would invert. There would be dead pixels, even though Nintendo has said that those dead pixels are normal. That seems to be a little bit alarming, in my opinion. And then there's also, card reader issues. There's so many issues with this launch that most people are panicking and, crying foul and saying the sky is falling and all this. But we have seen launches kind of falter in some way, shape, or form. No launch is perfect.
Right. In terms of it, you expect to be, you expect to have some problems with the launch. There's always going to be some hiccups. Just like when the Wii U first started, there was an issue with launch where it could potentially brick the entire console. That's always fun. But with this one, I already turned you off, you motherfucking phone.
Anyway, what were you...
Fuck. Okay. So that's how it starts this week. So with the Switch, in terms of it's not as bad as completely bricking the console this time, but it is still bad to the point where, for example, if you bought a new TV and it had dead pixels, and you contacted support for this TV, and they said, well, that's kind of part of how the TV is supposed to be. A dead pixel here and there is normal. I assume you would be quite unhappy with the entire experience. That would not make me happy. I would be very upset that I just paid hundreds of dollars for something that has dead pixels. Nintendo is telling people, this is normal. Don't panic. This is, how things should be. No, it's not.
No, that's not how technology works.
Everybody knows that's not true.
Yeah. And if you get dead pixels right off the bat, something's very wrong with the console. But we've seen other consoles have, some hardware issues where the PS3 had this yellow light of death. Not initially, but as time went on, that yellow light of death kind of meant that you'd have to get a brand new console. And that was what that first wave of PlayStation 3s had an issue with, like the big George Foreman grill type models.
Mm-hmm. And what about the Xbox One and PS4? They had wonderful, wonderful eras when they first launched as well. The Blue Pulse of Pain for the PS4. That's what the media dubbed that. And then the Xbox One also had an issue, and I dubbed that one myself, everyone. Go me. When I was writing for Screw Attack, I called that one. Just a quick preface: it would make a grinding sound when you put a disc in to play.
The disc grind of doom.
That's exactly what I called it.
Yep.
That's exactly
And
what I called it.
the Xbox 360 had a similar issue where if you were putting it upright, there would be some damages possibly that could be done to the disc where, later models, they were much better at handling the disc upright than they were, the first models that went around. And the Xbox 360 had one of the more infamous hardware issues with the Red Ring of Death.
Yes.
The first models of the system. A little bit later on down the line with the Xbox 360 Slims, that seemed to kind of go away for the most part.
It's funny you bring up the one with the Xbox 360 where if you were using it upright, it could eat your discs, because it did destroy a copy of Elder Scrolls Oblivion on me when I was using mine upright for the first time. After that happened, I never used upright again, ever.
Yeah, I don't know why a lot of people would use. I mean, you can use upright. I mean, it was one thing that you could do with the console. You can put it upright or you can put it, sideways. But to me, it seemed like the system was meant to be naturally put sideways as opposed to upright.
Not necessarily. Remember that a lot of the promotional stuff that Microsoft put out, it was standing upright. And they even had, stands for it and such. So they were pushing that.
But a lot of the lettering, seemed like more natural sideways and all that.
Yeah.
Obviously, with a disc-based system, you'd want to put everything on flat and not just, upright.
Yeah, common sense would tell you that.
I mean, to me, it just feels more natural to put things sideways. Where the Wii had a touted function like the 360, where you had to put it pretty much upright, or at least that's what they want you to do. The Wii handled sideways a lot better than the 360.
Right.
But that's the way it was naturally.
Yeah, it had a motorized feed system to it, so you could feed the disc into the system rather than a tray-based setup like the Xbox 360, which meant that the idea of putting Xbox 360 upright like that, it was doomed from the start. Yet Microsoft kept promoting this idea regardless until people started losing discs.
Because if they went with a motorized system to kind of feed the disc inside, I think the 360 would handle things a lot better out of the gate than it did with the tray.
I could agree.
So there's many more issues with the Switch. And one of them is, when we were talking about it just before we went live on the show, a lot of people are scratching and smudging their tablets, their Switch tablets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's because they're forcing it in there, because what you mentioned to me earlier is that if you just lightly put it in there and don't try to force it, then you're not going to get a scratch or a smudge or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a lot of information to go off from that.
Right.
Because the console's only been out for a couple of weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big issue with that, I asked a Switch owner who has not had a single issue one with his so far. When I got a chance to try his, I asked him how he felt about, people having problems with scratches and everything, and he just shrugged and said, I'm not having problems. So I asked him, okay, well, what do you think is causing this then, in terms of it? Because, there's no plastic, or not plastic, but no, safety covering or anything else. It's just hard plastic in this dock. And he said people are probably just casually tossing it in and not, gently lowering it in. And I said, okay, that could definitely be a reason. But here's my deduction if that's the case. One, okay, we could argue it's their fault a little bit by not being careful enough, but isn't it Nintendo's fault just a bit for not predicting that people would do that, especially when there's children involved?
Yeah, I think it is Nintendo's fault to an extent that they didn't see this kind of thing coming, even when they kind of touted it in their commercials, you're wanting to hear some sort of snap, almost. Because that's what I got out of the commercial. Oh, when you put in the dock, you want to wait for some kind of snap. to
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Yeah, and the snap does happen. It does. I was telling you about that
But
before
it's
we
not
went live.
because of, the hardware or the shell or
Right,
the
right. What happens when the snap is it's when you first add the Joy-Cons onto the system. So for example, say you have it in TV mode and you're like, I'm going to pull it out of the dock now. You take the Joy-Cons, you slide it onto the side, and then it does the snap sound from the tablet, and then you lift up. It does not make a snap sound when you put it into the dock. From my
So
understanding, I've not seen one put into a dock, but from my understanding, the only time it does the snap is whenever you add the Joy-Cons.
so if that's true, because I unfortunately haven't had a chance to try out the Switch, but do you think that it's kind of Nintendo's fault for like adding that kind of thing in there, like a snap if it doesn't, snap into the dock or like whatever it is? Like that to me is it's like a Pavlov's dog kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where you're waiting for a sound and
Right.
the sound doesn't come, so you kind of like try and force things in there,
That
and you
could
don't
be.
hear the sound.
That very well could be, because at this point, I would say the audience is conditioned to expect that sound, because, even when you boot the thing up, because I've seen a Switch boot up, it has the Switch logo, it makes the snap sound, and then it boots the console. So
Yeah.
you've been conditioned to hear that noise. That's what you
But what if
expect
you?
with the Switch.
Yeah, and it may be caused by the software or itself, but what I'm thinking is this: is that uh, what if the Switch itself is off? Like, you leave it outside of the dock and you turn it off, the night before, and then you think,
Hmm.
oh shoot, I gotta charge my Switch. So then you put it in there expecting like that sound, but you don't get that sound, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, well, what's wrong?
Yeah, you're not going to get that sound. In terms of it, it's got to be on. It's got to be in a certain condition, and that's just the way that's going to be.
Mm,
What I would suggest, and maybe this would help people a bit more, is if Nintendo would put out like a full like care guide on how to handle, your
yeah,
Nintendo Switch. I think that
yeah.
would be really good in terms of helping people better understand the product. Simply because with Wii U, there really weren't that many ways to screw up with it. It was fairly self-explanatory. Here's the system. Here's the big ass controller that's also a tablet. Here you go. Have at it, Haas. And if there were
But I,
problems with, you know, not like combining or pairing the controller with the system, there were plenty of guides on Nintendo.com. I don't think there are any real Switch guides for these issues on there yet.
and it's another thing with the Switch where, yes, launch titles, they're not exactly great for any system. Like, you'll have a handful of hits, maybe, but the Switch right now, I'm looking at their um, console lineup here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing anything for this summer other than, um, what we're gonna see in April with Mario Kart Deluxe, Disgaea 5 Complete in May. There's nothing that I see for uh, any of the summer months, June, July, August. So that to me kind of screams a red flag almost, but I'm sure they're going to, announce some titles for the summer months coming very soon. At least I would hope so. Because right now, with the lineup that they have, they can't go into summer with just that, or at least go through the duration of the summer with just those games.
Oh, I think they can. The
How?
real,
How?
the way that a lot of people are saying it right now is the real launch date for the Switch is this holiday season. The Switch,
See, I don't know.
if you want to be an early adopter right now, you can, but that's not the real end goal. The real end goal is to get early adopters out there to buy the system and then bring it around town and show their friends. So the real launch time is this holiday season with the new Mario game.
But I guess a lot of people are going to be, you know, out of let's go with the kids route, out of school. Um, Mario Kart 8 is not going to be enough to keep their attention. Breath of the Wild is not going to be enough to keep their attention for the summer months. So banking on the holiday fact that everybody's going to be pushing for the holiday. I think that does Nintendo more harm than it does good, because right now was a perfect opportunity with, you know, parents getting tax refunds and all this other stuff, that they're getting money to spend. So why not, go with the actual system launch right now and then build upon that as the year goes on?
Because they've never done that in terms of modern times. Even with the 3DS, that came out around tax season, but they really didn't push it until the holiday season. They
that's
used
a handheld.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not buying it, because they're pushing this as a home console, as well as something to take out and be mobile with. If you don't have any games past Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8, people are going to get bored with it, I think, and they're just going to forget about the Switch come holiday season. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong on that, but right now, a lot of people who have an Xbox One, who have a PS4, who are into PC gaming, whatever the case is, it's going to be a hard sell for them come holiday season, to get away from those type of platforms and go onto the Switch. That's the way I see it.
I think you and I are going to have to disagree on that one then, because the way I see it is they can kick the can around all during the year. They can have their early adopters, have the tech junkies go around at the different conferences and things like that, show it off to people they know, even if it's casually, even if they're, going around showing off Breath of the Wild to people over and over again. And then the holiday season is when Nintendo's going to ramp it up, really push it, because the other rumor that's happening, and it appears to be truth as time goes on, is there's going to be a special version of Smash coming out for Switch. One with characters that did not release for Wii U and will not release for Wii U. So that's going to be interesting as well.
That's interesting as well. Yes, you have but right now Nintendo absolutely lock down on these hardware issues if they want to have a chance at the holiday season, because right now people are looking at the Switch and saying, wow, there's a lot of tech issues. I don't know if I want this system. And that's one thing Nintendo really needs to buckle down on and fix these issues come holiday season, because if those issues are still persisting around the holiday season, I don't see a big reason why people would want to continue and maybe even gamble on the Switch, because they're thinking in the back of their minds, I don't know, I've heard a lot of issues with the system. I don't know if I want it.
Well, that's the beauty of early adopter tech marketing. In terms of it, you put it out there, and it's got this bigger price tag right at the very beginning, because they give people the opportunity who want to be the first people to have it. You can have that opportunity, but it's going to come with whatever bugs or flaws or anything like that. They're going to use you as a guinea pig, and you're going to pay the full price to do this. They're going to use that feedback that comes back. Yeah, they're going to use that feedback that comes back from these people, and they're going to improve upon the product when they're ready for a more mass market launch. Now, I know it's not fair and it sounds crazy, but this is fairly normal in the tech world.
Yeah, but it's, like I said, they really do have to buckle down on it, because if they don't, then they're in big trouble. But they do have something to fall back on, and you did mention it, is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which had perfect reviews seemingly everywhere. Patrick, you got a chance to play Breath of the Wild. I'm a little skeptical of Breath of the Wild, not in terms of like how good it is, but with the reviews getting like perfect score after perfect score. Is this game, deeming of those scores, or is it all just, kind of a nostalgic smoke and mirror kind of thing?
Is it all the hype it's getting right now?
Is it worth the hype that it's getting?
Is it deserving of this hype? Yes. Yes, it is. Really? Yes, it is. There's a few areas that make me think, hold on with that 10, guys, because I do have some nitpicks. But overall, yes, it is completely deserving of it. In terms of it, when it comes down to some of the issues that I've experienced with it, I don't know if it's because of Wii U. That's why I'm hesitant to be too critical of it, because I know there's a difference between the Wii U version and the Switch version. Wii U version does have issues in terms of frame rate compared to Switch, some different things like that. Plus, there's some shrines where you're doing puzzles where it's like tilting a maze to like move a ball around, and this puzzle is just like broken as fuck. But I don't know if it's because of the Wii U and the gamepad that's causing this. It might work perfectly on the Switch for all I know. And then like people are like, "Why are you having problems with this shrine? It's fine." And I'm like, you know what? Fuck the world. This isn't working. So that's
the kind of
go ahead.
kind of issue. That's the kind of issue I had with, Star Fox Zero, and some of its motion control features, that some stages that should have been easy were absolutely ridiculously difficult.
Yeah.
And the motion controls, they are what they are, but they're way too gimmicky. And I think Breath of the Wild, from what you have described, might be, not the best route to go on the Wii U. It might be a great game to play on the Wii U, but it's definitely made for Switch, I would assume.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Because another thing I had a gripe with is like the aiming when it comes to the bow. Like, for the most part, if you want to get some quick shots off, you use the motion controls with the Wii U gamepad. So that's the way you're gonna, hit the button to pull the arrow back, and then you start swiveling around with the gamepad to get the best shot. Not exactly wonderful, but it gets the job done when it comes to it. I also did the same thing on the Switch and was like, holy shit, these Joy-Cons make it amazing. Because, like I was telling you, I took the two Joy-Cons off, I propped the system up, and I just had my hands down like, a normal human being would, and I was playing Zelda. Holy shit, completely naturally. And I was able to move my right hand with the Joy-Con and be able to get picture-perfect aim with the bow to the point where I was like, I wish Wii U was like this. I said that a couple times.
Wow.
So it's really good on Wii U. It's really fucking good. But it's supposed to be a Switch game.
Okay. Fair enough on that. So you have played it on the Switch, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do the Joy-Cons feel? Because when I looked at the controller, you have the analog sticks on opposite ends, and I think that's kind of awkward almost, but not inherently awkward, because you do have the Xbox 360 controller with the analog sticks kind of seemingly like that, but not exactly. Are the Joy-Cons hard to kind of grasp, is what I'm saying?
The one part where it gets weird compared to, for example, like the Wii U gamepad, because with that, both of the sticks are upper with your thumbs.
Very parallel to each other.
Yeah, they're parallel. That's a good way to say it. I said upper. Parallel is a better way to say it. So you've got parallel. One stick controls Link. One stick controls the camera, the right stick. So that's fairly okay because it's parallel. It gets a little weird with Switch because it's not parallel. So that gets a little weird. But overall, when you're like, gripping the Joy-Con, playing with those, you would think like, these things look flimsy. I don't know how to feel about them. Honestly, I felt like I was using a Wii Nunchuck, for example. It didn't feel flimsy. It felt natural for the most part. Except the only issue I really had is I am not cool with, running around with Link, using the buttons to jump, attack, etc., and then stopping to do that so I can reach down and use the other thumbstick to move my camera. I was not okay with that.
So the right thumbstick, that one's a little tough to get around.
Yeah. Simply because they're not parallel. One's, where it should be. The other one's, like, on the bottom for some crazy reason. Well, it's not a crazy reason. We know why. Because player 2 should be able to hold the Joy-Con and do all that. But it's just... it's not natural. It just doesn't feel right.
And that's what a controller should be. Is like, it should absolutely be natural.
Yeah, everything else felt natural. Like, it felt better to attack with Link, to run with Link, to jump with Link. Everything else felt fantastic, except for the camera part.
Does this system come with the, controller kind of thing like we've, been accustomed to for years and years and decades?
Are you talking about the little, bay?
Like the Pro controller, basically.
Oh, no, that's separate.
Oh.
No, that's completely...
That's a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, that's separate. What shows up is that dock thing for the Joy-Cons. those are like on that thing, and then you can slide the Joy-Cons off and pop it on the console, which is what the guy I was, met up with to try the Switch. That's what he'd done because he brought it into the office, at my workplace, wherever that would be. So, so he brought it there, and he had like this wonderful carrying case that he got with his special edition of Breath of the Wild. Beautiful carrying case, first and foremost. So anybody who hasn't had a chance to get that and didn't get the special edition, you're gonna hate yourself. Such a beautiful case. So he had that, and then he had it in like console mode. So it feels like you're holding a really big Vita.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way I felt. It's like, you've got your controls on the left and right, and then you've got your screen in the middle. This is like a big ass Vita. Okay. And it still does touchscreen. It does some motion controls. Vita does touchscreen. Vita does some motion controls. So I got that vibe. Except it looked better. It felt better. And if I wanted to pop the controllers off on each side and just play casually with my arms to the side, I could. So that was amazing.
Interesting. So then, okay. So when you put the Joy-Cons on the tablet, does that right thumbstick feel a little bit more natural than it does when it's off the tablet? And
Nope.
Like you're sitting on the couch. Nope. Still awkward.
Nope. Same position, same problem.
That might be an issue where people look at that controller. This is kind of awkward. I don't know how I'm gonna get used to it.
Yeah. That's one area where I am not the biggest fan, but I cannot stress enough that do not let that turn you away. It is still fantastic. Much better compared to Wii U, because in terms of frame drops, because you're going to read a lot about that when it comes to like Reddit threads. If you've gone on Reddit and looked at Nintendo, you're probably going to read a lot of threads about Breath of the Wild frame drops. So right when I started playing the Wii U version, not to spoil too much of the game for anybody who hasn't tried it, but you start out in a big field at the top of a hill. There's lots of grass, trees, all this stuff. Pretty breathtaking, and you start running down the hill. The game started losing frames the moment it was animating all the brush, all the leaves, all the everything. I noticed a drop in frames right there and was like, whoa, what? I just started. That's a bit much. I mean, it caught up and I really didn't see that issue again, but that was jarring when I first started the game, and it's like, frame drop right in the middle of it. Wow. So that was a problem. But then I tried it on the Switch, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to a big grassy area and run around with like trees and stuff, see what happens. I didn't see any frame drops. Didn't see any problems.
Okay. So on the Switch, it's still 30 FPS, isn't it? Or is it in 60?
60.
Oh, it's 60 FPS on the Switch?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's 60 frames. You're only going to get 720 when it's on mobile mode, though.
That's still...
Yeah, you're only going to get 720, just like if you're playing that on Wii U. Because on Wii U, I'm fairly certain that... I don't know if it gets 60 or not. I'd have to play it again and see. Maybe watch a few tech videos.
But you know that it's going to drop in frames.
Yes, it is going to drop in frames.
As opposed to the Switch version where it's almost flawless.
Yeah, so if you are not willing to upgrade to the Switch and you want to try it on Wii U, these are some of the things you're going to have to live with if you want to play Breath of the Wild. There will be frame drops. It is going to happen. For the most part, these frame drops happen when you are in an area that has a lot of rendering to do, such as like a lot of grass, a lot of trees, different things like that. If there are a lot of enemies surrounding you, that could happen there. And also, depending on the weather conditions when you go into villages. Weather is a big thing in Breath of the Wild. So it could be raining when you go into a town, and if it's really pouring down and you're walking around and there's people doing things, you will notice a drop.
Okay. So one thing I do want to ask, because I do think that, this game is comparable to Twilight Princess, where they both launched on two different consoles. One kind of deals with motion controls more than another. Is Link left-handed or right-handed in the Switch version, or is there no real difference between the two as far as like which hand he's got his sword in?
You're gonna call me out on that, aren't you?
I am actually, because I think that is kind of a not. It's not an important issue, but it's an interesting thing to look at.
I'm gonna have to say I was so infatuated with the game and trying it on the Switch that I didn't pay attention. I really
Because
didn't pay attention.
For
Now,
those who don't know, the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, Link is left-handed, where in the Wii version he is right-handed to accommodate the majority of users playing on the Wii, where they're going to be right-handed more often than not. So sorry, left-handed people, but
yes.
there is another instance where the GameCube version, from what I hear, is a lot better than the Wii. Not just because of the motion controls, but the game also looks better, and it was kind of built for the GameCube, where the Wii was a port of the GameCube title, even though they were launched on the very same time.
Yeah, I can't believe that I didn't even think of that while watching everything, because I was just so infatuated with
You're still rattled about the left-handed thing.
yeah, I was just so infatuated with the game that I never really thought of it, and then I started thinking about me playing it on the Wii U, and I'm like, wait a second, I think Link was right-handed when I was playing.
Okay.
So I'm actually watching some Switch video on here right now, and there's blasphemy afoot. Burn everything to the ground. Link is carrying a club in his right hand.
Oh, well then. On the Switch version.
Mm-hmm. Which
And
means I could go find the Wii U version. I'm fairly certain I recall Link carrying things in his right hand on that one too. So this version of Link, for whatever reason, is right-handed.
That is interesting. Well, I mean, on the Switch, it would be right-handed because you're dealing with motion controls more often than not. But I would assume then that on the Wii U version, he would be, left-handed, which has been like that for.
He's
goodness
always
knows.
left-handed for the
Well,
most
he's not
part.
always left-handed. He's
Well,
always,
okay.
Like I said,
More often than not, he's left-handed.
yeah, but
I'm gonna blame it like not to spoil the story too much, but this Link has been like in stasis, or he's been dead, or what the hell ever for 100 years. So he woke up and he forgot he was left-handed. He woke up and he was like, I'm left-handed? Whoops, sorry guys.
Well, I guess I'm accustomed to my right hand now, so I'm instead. But
Why,
it's,
Nintendo? Why?
it's interesting to kind of go forward with this Legend of Zelda because, a lot of people like to talk about, the storyline and all this other stuff, which game falls into the timeline and most of this stuff. I'm not gonna say whether we're gonna get into that right now because we have some other stuff to talk about, but that is something interesting to look forward to if you are a big Zelda fan, like a lot of people are.
If you are a filthy nerd.
Well, that's one way to put it. Yes, go on with that with your damn self. But to me, that's kind of interesting to where this game would fall in the timeline. I would say it's almost like going backwards again because I feel like every game just goes like more and more backwards than it does like progress forwards because this is not a sequel to Zelda 2, which is still the most forward game in the timeline, believe it or not. Oh,
no, this one I'm fairly certain. Like, I haven't gotten too far into it, to be honest, but I think it's fairly standalone. I'm not going to dive into the story much because, holy hell, one, I don't know a lot of it. Two, we could talk about that forever and we don't have the time. But this story seems fairly unique, guys. If you haven't experienced it yet, I think you're going to have a fun, unique story that you'll want to experience.
Well, let's dive into something else. Speaking of the story of something, we're going to talk a little bit about Overwatch and its newest hero, Orisa, which I have kind of nicknamed O'Doyle because O'Doyle rules. And
wow.
This hero, from what I've seen in the PTR, is very good. It's almost a replacement for Reinhardt, and Reinhardt is almost obsolete at this point.
Oh
because
wow.
of Orisa. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it.
That's a strong statement.
Because Orisa is very easy to play as. Um, you can put up a shield at any point. It's a weaker shield than Reinhardt, but not by a lot. So you can place the shield at anywhere too. The main ultimate ability is you get to put down this thing that kind of supercharges everybody. So it's almost a replacement for Ana as well. But here's the kicker: Ana can heal, Orisa can't, and Orisa is a tank. So to me, from what I look at this from playing as Orisa, you get guns, and you get a shield, and your ultimate ability is the supercharge. Why wouldn't you want to play as this character? As opposed to something like Reinhardt, where Reinhardt is mostly going to be, well, not mostly, he is going to be meleeing a lot of people, or he's going to be staying at the payload with, a shield intact. So that's the one pro Reinhardt has, is that he can move along with his shield, where Orisa just kind of places down a shield at anywhere at her leisure, basically. And that's the main thing about Orisa. But Orisa was teased with like this new storyline where this girl from Nubani, who is a child genius, kind of starts to build these security robot, or like gets this patent to build like a security robot, and that's Orisa. And don't know much else about the story besides that, but it is kind of interesting to dive into these Overwatch mini stories from time to time.
I haven't had a chance to try the character because I deleted my PTR. I need to download it again, apparently.
Yeah, you need to try Orisa if you haven't.
Yeah, I read about the character, and I thought, well, this is going to be interesting, because isn't like... I know that it's like the tank defender class, but isn't this character an actual tank, more or less?
Pretty much. I would say so. I mean, it's got the health of a tank. This thing kind of moves around almost like a tank.
Yeah. So it's like an actual tank, except for like it doesn't have the wheels and everything.
Except it's built like a cow, or
yeah,
like a centurion is the word I'm looking for.
Like a centaur?
Yeah, the centaur. There we go.
Centaur. So it's like a centaur tank, or organic thing.
It's a centaur robot.
Centaur robot tank. There we go.
Motaro only, in a robot form, but and this one can shoot guns, unlike Motaro. Well, Motaro does have that ability where he does that fireball basically.
He fires fireballs from his tail somehow. But yeah, that sounds fun.
Orisa can move and shoot, but moves slower when you put on a turret form with the shift ability. So with that, I think you get a little bit of a damage boost with that too, but I haven't really seen much of a difference with either one. But yeah, Orisa is very good, and I think the meta is going to change with a lot of people going off of Reinhardt and into Orisa, mostly for the fact that you can do long range damage as opposed to Reinhardt, where you have to get in pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's time for me to download the PTR so I can try this character.
So yeah, if you're on PC with Overwatch and you haven't tried out the latest PTR or the public test realm / region, you should definitely go and do that. Even if it's all heroes and it's everybody Orisa, this character is definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. And it's going to change a lot of things as far as competitive play goes.
And so, if you're on console, I'm
you're
sorry.
Have to wait for another week or two. That's the only thing. In fact, it may release this week, if not next week. So by the time you get this, you may have Orisa or not on the. So just wait on that.
Well, there you go.
Right now we gotta wrap things up a little bit, but the way we wrap things up around here is we like to play a game called Buy, Try, or Die. This is where I buy Patrick time to get the audio loaded up if he hasn't gotten it already. So the way we play this game is that we look at the next week ahead, the lineup of that, lineup of those titles, and we either say buy if we want to buy it or want you to buy it. We say try if we're willing to give the game a shot, or we say die if we want the game to die a very bad, lonely, burning death. But we also have our whys waiting in the wing, because the last time we did this, it was the Switch light up, I believe. No, it was the week after, and it is going to be very, very interesting this week because it's a short week for games. I will say that, but you know, I think we've got some diversity here.
And just to
May
cover
actually-
the last bit of the rules, because you missed the why part. The why is for why bother, as in
Oh,
why
yeah,
would
why
you ever
bother?
bother with this game?
Why would you ever bother with this game? We only get one a month.
One a month.
We may be able to. We may use that. I would
Yeah.
say.
Neither one of us have used one for the month, so we may end up doing it.
There's a good chance. So, whenever you're ready, Patrick, hit the music.
And now it's time to take a look at the week ahead with Buy, Try, or Die.
So there we go. Buy, try, or die. It is time for that part of the week. So, first up, we have. Where am I right now? Oh yeah, Tokaiden 2, which is also known as Tokaiden: The Age of Demons. So this game is available for Windows, PS4, and PS Vita. Vita's got another game. Vita's made a comeback. Vita's making a comeback.
Call it a comeback, son.
Been here for years, so buy, try, or die.
It has been around for years. I'll try it simply because it's a Vita game, and holy shit, Vita needs love.
It does, and you know what? It's getting some love. It's getting some love right now. It was originally released in Japan in 2013, and originally in 2014 for most consoles. But this is mostly a Vita game. This is
Okay.
predominantly. But I will say that I'm willing to give it a shot because it sounds interesting as the action RPG.
2 on the try.
I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to give most action RPG. So then we have Troll and I. Troll and I is a game for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, and the Nintendo Switch. So there's another Switch title. This is a game that's called Troll and I. It's made by Maximum Games. Buy, try, or die.
I don't even know what it's about.
The troll is capable of powerful attacks that can defeat enemies with a single blow, whilst Otto, the main character, relies on lighter and more nimble attacks. The two will need to work together to solve puzzles. It will include local split-screen multiplayer.
It sounds like a shittier knack. Die.
I'm gonna say why bother with it. I'm using my why for the month. Like,
Go ahead.
This-
I think it should burn.
if you're gonna copy something, don't copy Knack, because like you said, this really does sound like a terrible
just
Knack
like-
knockoff.
Yeah, it's like here's a troll and he's got powers, but we're gonna add puzzles and split screen in, and it's a fucking mess. Buy our game. No, that's cool.
No. Mass Effect Andromeda, the highly anticipated BioWare game, and the next iteration of the game, this time without Commander Shepard. Patrick, buy, try, or die, is this your favorite game on the Citadel?
Buy. It is my favorite game on the Citadel. I'm Commander Patrick, and this is my favorite game on the Citadel.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy this one as well. I'm a huge Mass Effect junkie. Didn't exactly like how 3 left a taste in my mouth, exactly, but, you know, with the, director's cut ending, I liked it a little bit better. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy Mass Effect Andromeda when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Shepard, but I'm not worried about
I'm
it.
looking forward to the new stories that are gonna be.
Oh yeah, it's still gonna be an amazing intergalactic adventure. I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, Dreamfall Chapters: The Longest Journey is on the 24th here. It is a episodic 3D adventure game made by Deep Silver, Red Thread Games, and Blink Studios. It is available for the PS4 and Xbox One. Buy, try, or die.
Again, I don't even know what the hell this is.
I just told you like what kind of genre it is.
Eh,
the adventure game.
why bother? That's
You're using
right.
why on this one.
Yeah, why bother with it? I mean, it's not worth anybody's time. Why bother with the thing? Just ignore its existence.
See, I'm gonna be unlike Patrick here, and I'm gonna give this a try. I would like to try this out because usually a lot of episodic games tend out to be pretty good. But it does, have some odd story to it. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but the story's a little odd, but I'm used to odd things in my life, so I'm gonna give this a try.
And I'm just being the cynical person because I'm tired of I'm tired of all things with like a so-called epic story to be episodic anymore. It's just like, get over it.
All right, fair enough. And finally, this week, like I said, is gonna be next week. Mario Sports Superstars. I was almost gonna say Super Mario Sports, which was not accurate at all. It's Mario Sports Superstars for the 3DS. Patrick, is Mario enough to carry this title?
If it's anything like Mario Sports Mix on Wii, yes. I loved Mario Sports Mix on Wii, and I am not kidding.
Even though you were like up by like 30 at one point, and then you went to go something else, and you were able to like put the game down for like 15 minutes, and you were still ahead at one point in a hockey game.
It was that amazing. Yes, it was that amazing. I would buy this if it's anything like Mario Sports Mix.
It has soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, and horse racing.
Golf and horse racing. Ouch. Now that's the negatives. I would try it.
You're gonna do me like that where you're not gonna like golf.
I don't like golf.
All right.
I don't like golf. Okay, I'll try it. But horse racing, what the fuck? Here's a horse, Mario.
Hey, you gotta put your money down somewhere.
I guess.
I'll give this a shot.
Mario's got gambling problems now.
I didn't say it was Mario Casino. But, I'll give this a shot. Anything with Mario is worth at least a try.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not on like the CDI or anything like that, if it's on an official Nintendo console, why not try something more?
Okay. Fair enough.
So, those are the 5 games that are going to be releasing next week that are notable anyway. So, that is a look at the week ahead, and this has been Super Reset Brothers for March the 14th of 2017. I'm Tanner Larson.
And I'm Patrick Breeden, giving you the double guns.
The double guns?
Finger guns! And the wink.
Alright, well,
you can't stop me.
Hopefully we'll see you next week if we haven't decided to just part our separate ways after that.
Perfect.
I don't even know you anymore. Double guns. Double guns.
I was giving the thumbs up and then the guns and the wink.
Are you a used car salesman?
Do you need a car?
God. Oh my lord. Like, look at this beauty.
Just be like, oh, this thing, it's got the mileage your family needs, and look at that coat. That coat is amazing. The interior of this car is brilliant. Wink guns.
Wink guns, finger points. What do you say? We got a deal?
Bam, bam. We got a deal, son. Bam. I'll put you in this today. Bam, bam. Please don't kill me.
Oh, why? Why?
I don't know where I come up with this stuff. I just find it amusing at that given moment.
All right.
Okay, well, we're going to stop the stream now because I've got a meeting in about 5 minutes with some stuff.
Hey.
And the man here's got to get back to work.
So, I gotta go. I got bills to pay. I got mouths to feed. Ain't nothing in this world free.
Whoa.
Shout out to Cage the Elephant.
Yeah.